Welcome to FMQs review with Three Men in the Bog. But this isn't quite our jovial Christmas edition. We plan to be back and do not a review of FMQs, but probably the end of the year stuff next week. So expect the silly hats then.
Yeah, a bit of fun.
Meanwhile,
possibly a bit of drink.
It's the regular guests here. Norrie Stewart, Phil Attridge, and myself, Stuart Lockhead. Well then, guys, let's start with Phil this week. What did you think overall today's event?
Well, it started off a bit depressing actually. There you had a chance to finish it all on a bit of light, a bit of positiveness, considering the first thing we had was about 400 new jobs at NEG, at Dublin. And what did you get from the opposition benches? They literally sat with purse slips and their hands folded. I mean, this is 400 jobs for Scots in the Highlands.
Yep.
Of course, to celebrate, obviously not for the opposition, because, somebody might think that they were clapping Mr. Salmond, who was in superb form today. Joanne was in purse slipped, miserable, hot wee bit. I thought Salmond actually got that classic when he said tomorrow's the end of the world according to the Mayan calendar, but according to Joanne Lamont, it's the end of the world every week. Ruth Davison, complete waste of space. Willie Rennie, he was kind of cute today. He was saying, have you given a thought to my idea a couple of months ago? Then there were a few things coming down, things a wee bit more serious about the minimum pricing, actually having a look.
And there were quite a few jobs lost in the announcements.
Yeah, quite a few jobs announced, but on the whole, not bad. I thought it was quite good, particularly with the minimum pricing. I mean, some people think, it's terrible and this is hitting people. There's lots of jobs being lost in the licensed trade right across the thing. Minimum pricing is good for the licensed trade.
Norrie?
I understand now why she prefers to be bad-tempered, our Joanne, because when she smiles, she's scary. It was a list of negatives.
Boring.
Told it was about criticising Salmond. There was nothing in it. There was no substance. It was underlining what their intention for next year will be.
Play the man again.
More of the same. Yeah. Exactly. So she didn't score any points. Salmond took it on the chin and then slapped her twice as hard, twice as often when he stood up. Ruth Davison, actually, for 1 second there, I thought she actually was onto something. Until I realised, of course, the money would be frozen until such time as the court said, the work. So she got a kick in. I thought she got off lightly, to be quite honest.
Execution sounds bad.
The amount of money for capital expenditure that's been cut from the budget, Salmond could have basically kippered her, which is what he should have done. Willie Rennie, I take it this is some sort of thing the Liberal Democrats think they've achieved south of the border, this 2 years old.
It's kind of saying, with Home Rule, we should be comparing, make sure the Scottish government does everything that the English government does.
This is after yesterday's announcement from Fatboy Pickles that he's going to slaughter all of the local government finances south of the border. Where are they going to get money for this new 40% of 2-year-olds?
They won't. They'll say it, but they lie.
So, anyway, Willie was pathetic. I mean, he was polite, but he was really, it was...
Don't you take me seriously?
Would you mind kidding on? I'm a real big boy. And it was just garbage. Salmond, head and shoulders above them. I'm glad to say, more concise this week than he has been recently, and certainly much more sure-footed. But Joanne's pantomime nonsense was pantomime nonsense. It wasn't grown up at all.
I have to agree.
Well, she doesn't work when she's being serious. She looks like some wifey at the steamy door about to slap you because her bairn got a kick up the arse he deserved. And when she tries to be funny, it's worse. There's nowhere for her to go.
Well, I thought it was, her performance was, her speech was an end of the year summary of, as you say, what the Labour Party regard as their successes in FMQs over the year, and promised the same, more of the same next year, which is not going to worry the government at all, because yes, they get. Joanne still seems to live, but most of the Labour hierarchy in Holyrood seem to still believe they read the unionist press, and they believe that's the story that's getting out, and so they believe the stories about themselves being successful, even though the rest of us can quite clearly see they're not.
Is the hierarchy what you mean, the lowerarchy?
The B
constitutes the Labour leadership.
I think they're called the B team.
They're being called the
D team.
D team this week.
Well, they're the D team.
Yeah.
Is this
Well,
the suicide team even?
Well, Ponsonby slaughtered her.
All leading from Ponsonby's, it's the D team. All the talk, between
the unionist press suggesting
different social
that they're
groups.
committing suicide in order to save the union by making it look like it's impossible for anybody to govern Scotland because they're too stupid.
Because you can't get the matches tonight.
Okay, so what was noticeable particularly about Joanne's performance was that she'd obviously rehearsed it with Paul Sinclair, who was name-checked today, who actually writes her speeches. He was name-checked in the chamber by the First Minister, and she put down her speech at one point. At that point, the camera swings round to Salmond, and either side of Salmond, there's Swinney doing some kind of
Dancing the chair.
dancing with his hands on the table on one side, and there's Nicola holding her speech like this. They were both taking the mick out of Joanne Lamond.
They should have taken the mick
And
out
in
of
fact,
herself.
the presiding officer reprimanded John Swinney. I wish you just wouldn't read someone else's speech. It's just, everybody sees it, everybody knows it, and it's garbage. Ruth. She seemed to... The mistake she made, she brought up something called NPD, which I had to... We're political geeks, but we had to think, what is she talking about? I had to think about it. It was only as the question was developed and answered that it's a non-profit distribution model that the Scottish Government employs instead of the PFI. Anyway,
It's essentially a not-for-profit.
so you guys covered the 150 million she covered. She said hadn't been spent. Well, we know why it hadn't been spent, because it was dedicated to the Aberdeen bypass, and that was held up in the courts. But also, she shot herself in the foot as usual, because this time she meant. Alex Salmond was able to say, well, only yesterday, David Cameron, her boss, said that the PFI model was
Bankrupt, yeah. Had bankrupted us.
Yes, it wasn't any good at all. So, and yet here she was trying to suggest that the current Scottish Government model, which is not PFI,
Which is struggling to get backing.
I appreciate that.
And if you think the PFI was the real champion of PFI, I mean,
Labour Party
was Gordon Brown, the real champion. And I still, for the life of me, can't understand why he's such a hero. People look from the left.
Oh, I don't.
Gordon Brown. I'm sorry,
I
he's
think-
an arch
no, I think-
right-wing
No,
monetarist.
I think you're just spending too much time with your Labour Party pals. I don't think there's
Yeah.
the view. That's the view outside your Edinburgh Labour group.
Certainly not.
Now,
In fact, I quite often feel sorry for them.
I know, it's such a shame. So then we had Willie Rennie. I wasn't sure if he was going to get a shout, and we didn't get any shouts from the independent group either. Again, so we'll need to make serious inquiry as to why not. How come the Liberals get questions, but this other group don't?
They've had one question, haven't they? Patrick.
Well, perhaps that was
Yeah, I was hoping
Personal
we get
question.
Patrick.
Patrick Harvey or Margaret MacDonald or one of those every week would be good. Anyway, Willie decided to play his diplomatic face and asked a reasonable question.
How
But
many times has he brought that up, though?
I don't know. It's about nursery places for 2-year-olds, but he does seem to want to bring in. He just simply wants the Scottish Government to do the same as what happens in England, and then everything would be rosy. And it's kind of that's the Liberal. That's what they run. That's what, every time they ask a question.
And it isn't happening in England, that's the
But
whole
they're
point.
delivering more for the under fives than have been delivered in England. They've just got a different policy about where on the age scale they're delivering it.
They're delivering more than the previous Scottish government, the previous non-SNP.
I have to admit, I was surprised that what was not mentioned was colonists or settlers, because this has been the big stooshy all week about Alistair Gray's essay. You're both looking at me blank. You've missed this stooshy.
Yes.
You've obviously had really important lives, unlike me. I had loads of time to follow it, but this question of racism, anti-English racism, has been on the Twitter sphere for days now. Alistair Gray has been accused of being anti-English, defended by people like Kevin Williamson of the Independence Convention and Rebel Inc.
Defended.
Alistair Gray was defended by Kevin Williamson.
Well, I can understand that, and listen to my accent, I can understand
No,
that.
but
you might be going on about that thing that's called, not necessarily English, but it's that state of mind. And when you look at the Tory front bench, that's an English,
but let me finish the
horrific state of mind.
Finish the argument. The point was that Leslie Riddick, who I've a great deal of time for, also was defending what Alistair Gray was trying to say. Alistair Gray used two words that were incendiary, you could say, which was one was settler and colonist. Of course, settler rings bells from the days of white settler, when there was a rather nasty nationalism in the north, which kind of, to be honest, was never as bad as the anti-English racism in Wales, where they burnt holiday homes and things. I mean, that was serious in Wales. I lived there at the time. Whereas the other word, colonist, and apparently you're not allowed to use the word. The fact that Scotland is a colony of London, we're not allowed to say.
Well, colonies.
Well, actually, it's not a colony. You joined up voluntarily, by the way.
No, but I'm saying the view is not that Scotland's a colony. A colony dictates there's some sort of independence, some sort of separation. It's a region. They treat us like a region.
Anyway, you're not allowed to use the word because it's got too many nasty things. So
but we should get back onto the subject, and we should explore that in more depth.
I'm sure we will. So, let's go back onto today's FMQs. There was some goodwill around. Murdo Fraser seemed to... Murdo Fraser, of course, was funny.
Took it well.
He took it well. He put down a question on Monday about all these so-called strikes that were coming up over Christmas and New Year. And, of course, as he said himself, 3 days is a long time in politics.
Yeah.
Because by the time he got to ask the question, all these industrial disputes had been settled.
Bob Crew won again.
I like the way Alex Salmon managed to bring in the fact that the only strike that's still going ahead is the London Tube strike, which was, and yet here it was yesterday. They even managed to run the trams in Edinburgh.
Yeah, that was quite good.
Murdo Fraser impressed me. He did that well. He got about the best out of it he possibly could.
He wants a Scottish Conservative Party.
He wants an independent Scotland. He's about the only Conservative in there that actually seems.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, I'm not praising him. That actually seems to actually like the idea of an independent Scotland, because he probably thinks he would do better.
He was interviewed a couple of times this week, and
it's just a bad story. He's a Tory.
No, he totally followed the party line.
Well, what about the Mayan calendar, the end of the world tomorrow?
Well, will we go for a drink tonight?
What?
I've got a diet.
I mean, Joanne Lamont really got it from Alex. She stabbed him right in the chest there.
No, he stabbed her.
Sorry, yes, he stabbed her right in the chest there. He decided quite clearly today to play her back.
Yeah,
because she'd missed to stab herself in the head.
And how did the quote go?
Basically, it was the Mayan calendar. Basically, dictates that the end of the world is tomorrow. Joanne Lamont's calendar dictates the end of the world
every week.
Every week.
Every week in Christmas questions at the end of the world for Scotland every week, according to her. Well, look.
Can I just make one bit about Joanne? You know, with this reading, always with the script. Who writes a script? Why does she keep writing with the script? And then just think of a interview without a script with Bernard Ponsonby. You'll see why she reads from the script, because she just
She got ripped apart by him, but I have to
Oh.
admit that Joanne has impressed me in the past.
Yep.
I always thought she was better in an interview situation.
Oh no, she was
But
just.
Ponsonby just tore her up.
I wanted
for
to climb
asking.
under the table. Yeah, I just climbed under the table when she started to say about that. Thankfully, what the word wasn't. Thankfully that they she was saying that they weren't the government or were the government, and she started to get, and she was stopping, and well, it was like this. It was all over the place.
Seems to be one of these
Didn't
people.
have the
if she
figures,
gets-
had nothing.
If she gets knocked sideways, she cannot get back on
No.
track.
No, that's possible too. Well, look, let's try and score today. I've got my pencil ready, poised. Norrie.
I'll give her 2 because she attempted to smile.
Joanne, I'm taking that. isn't it?
Joanne, yeah. Ruth, well, she tried to be a stand-up politician. I'm going to give her 1. Willie, I'm going to give him 3 because he's obviously quite tenacious and can repeat himself eloquently every second time he gets up. And, well, he's wasted time on the same question. Alex, I'm giving Alex a 9 this week.
Really?
I thought he did well this week, yeah.
You played the woman for a change because they've been playing the man for so long. So I suppose, and he could play it really well if he wanted to. You suspect?
I kind of think maybe they're thinking it's time to slap them about a bit.
Bill.
Salmond, I'll start with Salmond. Yeah, I'll go along. I was thinking because I thought he was absolutely spot on there, but I just never like giving anybody a 10 anyway. Because but I'll give him a 9.
No room for improvement if you do.
No, I'll give him a 9. Joanne, I'm sorry, I was just so disappointed. Really, because and what makes it even more scary is just the thought I'm looking at them all banging on the table and the government in waiting. I'll be slightly more generous. I'll give her a 3. Ruth, sorry, I'm consistent. Nout. Willie, I'll give him 1 for 10 and up.
Very good. Joanne, I thought she failed miserably today, I must admit. The speech was an end-of-year speech. She didn't deliver it very well. She never had... She was the usual pattern, not really a question, but he makes a speech, sticks a question in the end, and at the end. Didn't even bother with the question this time, I don't think. And then she didn't even bother saying, well, I didn't get an answer, because she knew she hadn't asked a question. I'll give her a 4 just for being there. Alex?
That's true.
I know. Alex, I thought he was very, very good. And I feel he should get extra points just for playing the woman back because she's been taking it week after week. It's like he's the wee winger charging up to score and bang, she keeps getting played, the foul, and doesn't foul back. But this week, he kicked back. I'll give him an 8.
Do you know who we should start scoring actually?
Presiding officer?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we will. Ruth, another waste of space, 0. And Willie, I don't know what to get for an effort. It just feels as though surely there's a question the Liberals could ask.
Don't you feel like giving him a slap?
Yeah, well, why don't they have any questions they can ask to score any points at all? Do they always have to ask a question where he gets slapped down? I'm going to give him 0, I think, because...
Well, they're not kidding on that they're anything but a British party, right? So essentially what they're doing is trying to find a way to make their lot in Westminster look good. That's the way they're playing it.
I suspect that Willie, and now they're down to a rump of 5 MSPs, that they're probably, their future all that lies now in the Lords. This is how they see themselves. Just, given Ehrman these MSPs shoved off to the Lords, and that's their career, because they must think that way about their careers coming to an end.
It's all.
Is there anybody being given Ehrman from the Scottish Parliament?
Jack.
Lord McConnell.
Wallace. There's quite a few.
Aye, but was he not? He was a Westminster MP as well, Wallace, was he not?
Yeah, but he got it because he was Chief Suki's really up here.
I mean, I'm just saying that it's not that automatic. I mean, we're going to have to invent our own lords.
Fuchs was a lord before he came up here, right?
I've already thought about this. We're going to call it the Shuggy, and they're going to get to wear a toilet seat as a badge of honour.
That's going to be impressive.
I think it can be gold.
Merry Christmas.
No, but a toilet seat made out of rabbit fur, not onion.
Ah, a toilet seat from B&Q sprayed with gold paint. That's it.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Christmas.
And Merry Christmas to you.